what's up? It's Kathy and I'm back with another process video, and this one is for paper issues. This was one of the March challenges called Put It on an Angle, and I finally got around to recording the voiceover for the video. And it was a bit of an open challenge in that you could interpret it in different ways. And so what I decided to do was take a couple of pieces of pattern paper and do like a background where they were kind of angled onto the main background paper. So I'm using the blue check is Dear Lizzie Stargazer, the lemon is an old Dear Lizzie paper, and the flowers are from Dear Lizzie Saturday, so a few years ago. So they're all Dear Lizzie papers, just from Dear Lizzie collections, and they do match really well together. So I was really happy with that. As you can see, I'm just kind of tilting each paper so that it looks like you just kind of threw it on top of the other in like a haphazard way, and it's not like perfectly aligned. And this is kind of the angle that this is kind of the angle I'm using, is going with this angle. I'm doing quotation marks, air quotation marks right now. I just thought it was kind of a cute way to use up lots of papers, because I am using 3 whole background papers, and of all the things that I have in overstock, like that I have a ton of, papers is what I have the most of. I have so much pattern paper and I'm constantly buying more. Every time a new collection comes out, I'm just obsessed with paper. So I have more than I think I would ever need to continue to scrapbook. So when I make something like this, I'm not really worried about it. Like, what I mean is I didn't feel the need to cut out the rest of that flower paper to reuse it on something like that. It's just, I don't need to worry about saving every little piece. But I really like the way that this looks. And yes, the papers don't really, they're not from the same collection or anything like that, but they all have a very kind of spring, summery, light airiness to them, and they fit really well together. And yes, lemons have absolutely nothing to do with the photo or anything, but I don't know, when I think of lemons, I just kind of think of spring and summer and that like freshness that you get when everything's growing. So the photo is my daughter, and it's a little altered with like a filter in Pixelmatic that I have on my computer. So it had a lot of yellow and greens in it, so I thought that these papers would be perfect for it. So I do want to back the photo, and I know it's weird to be doing like this huge background and then this one tiny little photo, but the photo isn't the best quality, and it's just more kind of documenting the idea of it, I guess, more than the actual photo. If that makes sense. Maybe it doesn't. I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, this photo was taken in springtime at our little house, and she was not quite a year, and she's just outside in the green grass that's new and growing, and the crisp air. Like, she's still wearing pants and a sweater because it's not really warm yet, but it's just that idea of springtime and renewed and regrowth and all that kind of sentimentality. Is that a word? I thought it was. I feel like it's a word. I'm going with it being a word. So those that paper with the frames, that's from Dear Lizzie Stargazer, and I have so much of this collection, and I just never get around to using it. I don't know, like, I really like it, and yet I never find something good to use it on. So I just was really determined this time to use as much of it as I could. and I decided to fussy cut out some of the frames. I cut out some square ones, and that's why I ended up cutting out like the circular one and the little pink one that says Wild and Free, was to just not have every single one be like a square frame. And I made sure that the sayings in the frames at least made a little bit of sense, because some of them said something about like the weekend and stuff like that, which doesn't make any sense because this was during like a weekday, so it has nothing to do with that. Anyway, the Hello Sunshine is from the chipboard ephemera from this collection, and so I'm just adding my frames in different spots. I'm popping it all up on foam, just for the dimension, but also because the edges of all the papers are kind of bent up, so in some cases I have to put the foam on because it wouldn't sit flat otherwise. And I did make sure that the photo was a little bit angled too, as opposed to being perfectly straight. And then I'm just kind of, this is like a weird layout. I had no real direction with this other than I'm going to use some frames and I'm going to do this angled paper. That's about the gist of how far I got into my thought process with this. And I know some people on different sites ask once in a while, like what comes first with your ideas. This would be one of those ones where the idea of the paper and the slant and angling the papers came, and then I found a photo that I thought would work, and then I found the paper and decided to fussy cut. So all of those ideas came separately. They were not all together. So as you can see, I'm just laying out the frames around. So this is going to be a little bit different of a layout for me because I'm not clustering embellishments around the photo like I would normally do. I'm just spreading them all out because why not? I've got all this space to work on. That feather is just a leftover feather. It was cut from a 6x6 Dear Lizzie Saturday paper or Happy Day or something like that. Paper. I think it was like I think it was called Happy Day or something. And I had cut a bunch out for something, and it was a while ago, like at least a year ago. And I didn't use it, so I just put it in my ephemera pack because it was from the Dear Lizzie paper, so I thought I should put it in with the Dear Lizzie ephemera. So I'm going to use it because why not? And it's bringing in a bit more of that navy blue that is in the girl and in some of the different ephemera pieces. So I thought it would be a great way to add a little bit more navy blue going across the page. I cut apart some doilies just to add a little something. You can almost barely see them, but I just thought it added a little bit more texture and just kind of a hint of like a softness, I guess, because the doilies always look really soft to me because since they're so transparent and stuff like that. And I wanted to do three spots of it, just doing that whole visual triangle. You can only kind of see them, especially against the white paper, but I like that look. It's just a little peek, I guess you could say. That ampersand is from the chipboard as well, and there's no reason for it other than I just thought it was cute, and why not add a little bit more chipboard. So I think the only other stuff I end up doing is I'm using some of these hearts and some plus symbols that are part of the chipboard, and I think I might end up using some enamel dots or like wooden buttons, but that's about it. I'm not going to really embellish anymore. I'm just going to do some little clusters with hearts and stuff like that. And I know I found one of those hearts on the floor recently, so I know it fell off my layout, so I got to make sure I glue it back on. I always forget that with those chipboard, unless you're using another kind of adhesive, they're gonna fall off. So make sure you're using some more adhesive, and I didn't do it with the hearts, and I should have. So lesson learned. I'm gonna add some Heidi Swap Color Shine in gold, and that's only because there's some gold accents on some of the chipboard and everything, and I just kind of felt like I wanted a little bit of splatters, but nothing really contrasting. I didn't want it to take away too much. I don't remember if I end up adding the enamel dots or not. I thought I did. Oh yes, these are like the old Happy Day ones or something like that. And yeah, so I'm going to add a few of those around and just in threes, of course. And I want them to look haphazard. I don't want them to look like they're lined up perfectly or anything like that. Like I just kind of tossed them on. They already had foam on them, but I ripped the foam off because they were just a little bit too tall with that foam on them. So then I'm just adding glue to the back of them to make sure they stick around. And yeah, I'm ripping off the foam on that one too. But that was a whole layout. It came together so quickly and it was really neat. And I really like how it turned out. It's just super cute and fun and spring. And yeah. So I'm going to be using my Heidi Swap Color Shine. So pictures coming up. I will see you guys all in the next video. Thank you so much for watching, liking, subscribing, commenting, everything you do, following me, and have an awesome day.